Hello to y'all. I would like to welcome you to our online webinar encouraging your end users to use Sysaid. As you probably know, the webinar includes three portions. The first one is a short intro done by me, and this is a chance I can introduce myself. My name is Renan Zisman. I am the Sysaid Academy supervisor. The second part will be given to you by Joseph Zergari. You haven't seen him for a month now. Joseph will give our technical highlights. For those of you who have joined us today for the first time, you may have contacted Joseph by email or may saw him on the certification program. And the third part will be given to you by Sarah Lahab, our VP of Customer Relations. And Sarah will cover best practices. I would also like to mention that our representatives are available to take your questions online. You have an icon, a chat icon where you can submit your questions. For further questions, you can also contact us after the webinar. Okay, I assume, let's begin. I assume that all of you have purchased Sysaid and you have it installed and you're using it in your organizations. And as you may know, we have the IT benchmark module. If you go to your system to the manager portal and then to IT benchmark, you will find the IT benchmark module. What this module does basically is perform some measurements to evaluate your performance and compare them with other Sysaiders across the world. All the details are sent to the application. The data is accumulative data and all the rest is totally anonymous. And back here in Sysaid, we analyze the data and we publish it on the application. Now, if we take a close look on the chart over here, we can see that within 20% of the organizations, between 96% to 100% of the end users are submitting their service requests through their end user portal. That's a fantastic figure over here. And furthermore, even if we take a look on the average over here, about 60% of all Sysaiders are submitting their service requests through the end user portal, and that's absolutely an amazing figure. Now, we as help desk professionals, we want to provide our users with easy and accessible channels, and our topic today is how to make your end users adopt Sysaid and use it to communicate with your help desk. So these are the options we would like to offer you. The first one is brand the icon on users' desktops. Now, if you have already installed the Sysaid agent, you will be able to notice a desktop icon of Sysaid. And if you haven't done it yet, Joseph will show you, even after you have it installed, how you can take your company icon or your service desk icon and put it on your user's desktop. That's a good way to know, that the service desk is available. Another cool feature is the hotkey. Okay, you can publish the hotkey. Now, the term hit F11 should be a term to be used again and again, and that will become in your company a second nature. Now, you don't have to tell your users anything. You just say hit F11. It's very easy. Keep in mind that many organizations have other applications with F11 as a hotkey. So after check that, and if you see that F11 is taken, you can always use another key to pop up the end user request form. The other option, the third one, is also fantastic. It's embed the submit service request from your organizational portal. Now, your organizational portal is accessible, and we want to provide our users with easy access. So wherever you are, if you're back home or anywhere with your smartphone, you just open a browser, go in, you see the organizational portal, and you can submit a service request. That's a very easy way, very accessible to submit a service request form. If we want to go one step further, so we have the fourth option, which is to embed Sysaid as an iframe in your organization's portal. Now, what basically you take the whole service desk iframe and just put it okay, in your organization's portal, basically taking Sysaid and putting it within your company. I mean, that's great. It's fully integrated. It's always there, always accessible. Another thing that's really cool is the option to embed the chat icon and open additional communication channels. We would like to make it very easy for our end users to communicate with us. So if you have the chat module set up, or if not, you should, because you can benefit from things like the chat can enable you to chat with a individual user or multiple users simultaneously. It's very efficient, it's fast, it's fully integrated, and it's free. So that's a great way to communicate with your end users. Another option is to customize email notifications to enhance user experience. You know, you can customize great emails going out to your customers with great HTML templates. We're not going to go into details about that. It is available. If you have questions, you can contact us after the webinar, and we'll be happy to help you with this topic. The other option is to brand your company logo, okay, within the Sysaid system. And basically it's taking your whole company and putting it within Sysaid, and that will give your end user a touch and feel that Sysaid and the company are one full integrated unit. Okay, and now's the moment you'll be all waiting for. I guess you are expecting a short movie, so we would like to show you what happens to the IT guy where all communication channels are in use. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that movie. Now we would like to continue to the second part. I would like to invite Joseph, one of our customer relation team leaders, to provide us with the technical highlights. Please, Joseph.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I would like to questions Ronen advised you on. We're going to try to set up a branded desktop icon for submitting a service request. You can use whatever icon you want to make that icon recognizable as the IT submission form. So we're going to see how we do that. We're also going to take a sneak peek into how to change the shortcut, the hotkey. So if you don't like F11, you can use any other shortcut. We're also going to look into how to add a service request submission form to where the users spend most of their time, most of their day. That would typically be on your company intranet site. We're also going to see how to make the chat accessible from that site too. So I prepared a little example of a company intranet site. I'm basically starting with the second and third bullets because I find them more interesting, more unique. Having a little problem with that site now, so you know what, we're good. We're gonna go back and we're gonna get to that after we talk about the desktop icon. So depending on how you do the deployment, that's gonna determine how you set the desktop icon. If you do the deployment with the network discovery or the deployment tool, the deploy Sysaid tool, you're gonna set up the icon on the deployment settings. So if you already deployed it, then there's no point in redeploying the agent. I'm also going to show you on how to change the icon of the agent that is already deployed. So let's start with looking at how we do that with the network discovery. When you use the network discovery, you basically see this settings page. When you go to set up the discovery, you have these settings. You can click on the upload icon button right here to get this little pop-up to upload an icon file. Once you do that, it's going to add into the settings. Every agent that will be deployed with these settings is going to have that icon you choose right here. Okay, but that only applies to new agents, new client computers that receive the Sysaid agent with these settings. So anything you deploy to up until this moment where you actually changed these settings will not pick up that modification here. We'll see how to make changes to agents you already deployed. If we're looking into the deploy Sysaid tool, then the settings page is pretty similar. That's what we get. We also have this browse button right here where you can actually choose the path for the icon you want to use. You would typically want to use an ICO file. These are this could be JPEG or PNG. Should be 32 by 32 pixels in size, or 64 by 64. That could also work. So once you choose the icon right here, that's going to work for any agent you're going to deploy from this point onwards. Again, agents you already deployed to will not pick up this change right here. I'm going to save these changes and deploy to new computers. It's going to pick them up. Now, I talked about the two options right here and explained that any change we're going to make to the settings of the deployment of these two methods are only going to apply to deployments that you'll do from this point onwards. Agents you already deployed the agent to will not pick up these changes, and also if you do the deployment, those of you who know, you could also do the deployment using a login script or a startup script, or you could also use an MSI package on your group policy. So these two options don't have the option to change the icon. What we could do is use this scripted update I prepared for this session. Basically, it's a registry file that updates two values per key. Basically, we have two keys here. One is suitable for the 32-bit operating systems. The other one is for the 64-bit operating systems. I'm basically changing the icon file name. I'm putting a path to where the icon actually resides. I can do a local, path like C:\/ and then a full local path to an icon file, but then you'll need to have that icon available locally on each machine. Instead of doing that, I just placed it on my web server. It's accessible over the web server, and I just entered a URL here to that icon. So that's also going to work. I also changed the value for first time to yes for the simple reason that every time the Sysaid agent starts, every time the service starts, it's checking that first time value. It would typically find it at a capital N. That means that it's not the first time it's running. So it will just start working. If it is finding it with a capital Y as the value, as a yes for first time, it basically thinks that this is the first time the agent is running after deployment. In this case, it will do all sorts of things. It will, report inventory information and all that stuff. In addition, it will also create the desktop icon, or if it's already created, it's going to update it with new settings. So all I have to do is just apply this registry file to all client computers and restart the Sysaid agent service. Now, instead of doing that manually one by one or needing users to interact with this, I can also write a script, a batch file, that would stop the Sysaid agent service, implement this registry file into the local registry of each computer. You can use I use the /s switch to not require user interaction. You could also do that. That's going to be a smart move. And then start the service back. It's going to think it's the first time it's running, and it's going to update the icon with the one we pointed to on the URL. Now, as I said, it's going to do that one time. It's going to change the value of first time to no, and then on next agent restart, it's going to skip that skip the icon recreation. But if we're going to do this script on startup, it's going to do that every time you restart the computer or every time the user logs in if you do it on a login script. In that specific case, what I would recommend is maybe leaving that script up for a week or two, maybe 3, depending on how much time you think that you need to have all client computers restarted. After you're sure all client computers are restarted, you can just remove that script, and all client computers are going to keep the new icon in, and they're going to stop thinking it's the first time on every restart. This is how we're going to change the icon of existing agents. So that's pretty much it on customizing the desktop icon. The short video we prepared demonstrates how powerful that icon is. Even though it's not a reality TV here. This isn't a real life thing, but it pretty much demonstrates on what it could do. Everybody's going to know what that icon is, and they're going to use it to contact IT if that desktop icon actually connects with the IT department. Now I would like to go back to my having a little problem with my intranet site. I think I know what the problem is, and don't really have any other alternative, but let me talk about what I did. Basically, I'm going to demonstrate it with what we have on our website. On our website, when you go under support, contact support, I have two things I want to show you. We have an iframe with the submit service request link right here. That's going to open an embedded iframe to our end user portal. You can use that to submit a service request with our help desk. You could do the same on your Sysaid installation. You can take a link and put it on your intranet, and you could basically put it in a new window like a pop-up, or what we have here, it's called the media box. You can Google for it and find get the code for it. It's free. It's basically going to open an iframe within your window. It's like a pop-up within the page you're in. Okay, so no pop-up blockers. It's going to block that. Plus, it looks really nice. If you take that option, you should make sure your Sysaid is configured with the integrated Windows authentication or single sign-on. This is going to automatically authenticate the user and take them into the service request submission form. This will be required if you want to avoid the need of authenticating for each user that's going to click on that. So that's one option. Another option is we have an option to contact us from our website. That's using this little form here is set up using web forms. And the way you set up web forms is within Sysaid you can go to customize web forms. You can create a new web form there and set up which fields you want to show up. Okay, that's going to build a whole HTML file, the complete code for the HTML file. You can take that code, put it on whatever web page you have. It actually could work as a standalone web page, so you don't need to embed it within an existing web page, but that's not the point. What we want to do is to have it embedded into an existing web page. So you can just take the part that actually creates the form, put it in your web page, and that's going to create that form. One note on that, I'm going to go into, if that's going to work, one of my systems here, one of the test systems, and go to that page. Having some problems here, but I'm sure we can overcome everything. So under customize, we're going to go to web forms. This is where you can create a new form, choose whatever field you want to add. You have a preview to see what's going to show up eventually on that form. You have the HTML code that you're eventually going to embed into your web page. So you can save that, and you can copy and paste the complete code into your web page. One thing you need to make sure is that you have the images directory and the master.css file, the HTML settings. You have both links right here. You can get these files from here, and you're going to need to put these files near the HTML file you're embedding the form in. You also have a short explanation right here. This is how we use web forms. Now, just to show you what I embedded in the iframe, I'm going to use the service request submission form. This is the form. and we add a parameter to that URL. That's the URL you're going to publish to submit sr.jsp, and I'm going to add no frame equals yes, and then we're going to get it without the top bar, so it's going to look better within a frame on your website, or like we did with the media box. It's like an iframe, but it's like a pop-up when you click on a link. I'm going to go back to my presentation and show this to you on my next slide. So pointing a link or an iframe to the service request submission form, this is the parameter you need to add to the URL. So whatever your URL is, add /submit_sr.jsp, question mark, no frame equals yes. And as I recommended, you would want to do automatic authentication, so integrated Windows authentication for automatic login. That's going to help you to avoid the requirement to log in for each time your users are going to click that. Think about their having to click on that from their company intranet. They didn't log into Sysaid yet. So if they're going to click on that, they're going to get a login page unless you set up single sign-on. Okay, so the service request submission form added by the web forms. This is another option we have. And the last thing I want to talk about is adding the chat icon to make it accessible from your company intranet, for example. So going back to my system here, I'm going to move to the preferences menu and go to chat queues. This is where you have your chat queues set up. Take whatever chat you want to publish. You can change the icons if you want to make it more intuitive for users. So you probably want to say live chat with IT or something like that. So you can design your own image and upload it here. Notice the recommendation. It is recommended to use 163 pixels by 72. So 163 wide and 72 height image. Then we have this script right here. You can copy this entire script and paste it in your web page wherever you want that image to show up. Okay, that script is going to run every time somebody's going to access that web page. It's going to contact your Sysaid and see if any of the administrators is online within that queue. If so, it's going to show the online image and give them access to start a chat session with you. If not, if nobody's logged in, it's going to show this offline message, and then they're going to have the option to submit a service request instead. You can also prevent the option to submit a service request instead. This is the option to allow leaving a message when the chat is offline. You can change that to no, and then if nobody's online, that offline image will just direct them to a page that says sorry, nobody's online right now, try to contact us later, or something like that. So this is basically what we have for this is our suggestions, how to work with iframe, how to set up the service request submission form using web forms. And this actually, if we want to compare the two options, the first one requires login. The submit sr.jsp is a page that requires authentication. So if you're going to do that and you're going to set up the automatic authentication, that would work seamlessly. It's going to identify who's the user by whoever is logged into the workstation they're accessing from. But if you didn't set up integrated Windows authentication, it will require them to log in. Whereas web forms is designed to begin with, it's designed to work with let's say anonymous service request submission. So when you have web forms, you're not going to request users to log in. You will have fields for name and email address, so you'll actually know who submitted it, but there's no need to log in and authenticate. And we saw how we can make the chat available on the website using that script in the HTML file. I want to see if we have any questions on chat. Can we get our chat guys to see if we have any questions? People on chat are gathering all the questions for us, so that's going to take a minute. Please stay with us. Today we have on chat with us Ori Sharon. He's one of our more experienced account managers in our customer relations team. And we also have Sarah, which is going to speak in a moment, and I'll cover for her on chat. They're getting the questions. If we have any questions, we're going to have them in a minute. Okay, I understand that we have no questions, so I'd like to thank you for being with me today and for staying with me. Although the mishaps I had, I planned to show you an example of an intranet website, but my web server was down, and I hope I was able to find a good alternative. So, thank you very much, Ronen.
Okay, I would like to thank Joseph for his important technical input. That was great. It was awesome. And if you have any other questions regarding technical aspects, you are more than welcome to submit your questions, and we'll address them after the webinar. And now we're approaching the third part of our webinar, and I would like to invite Sarah Lahab, our VP of Customer Relation, to talk about best practices. Please, Sarah.
Hello everyone. I just ran over from chat. I was talking to you on correct place in the presentation. Okay, so now it's okay. So now you can all see my my presentation, and let's begin. First, I would like to thank you all for joining us today, and I hope that I think this is the fourth time we're doing it now, and we will be happy to see you here every month. Every month we're going to do that. We're going to talk about a different subject every month. So every month I get a chance to talk to you about best practices. And if you had the chance to talk to me through my 8 years in Sysaid, you know this is the best part I like about my job, is sharing information and helping you enjoy the most of Sysaid or make the most of your Sysaid installation. So my best practice for today is, first, understand where you're standing. Sysaid has a report option where you can see within your organization where you stand in regard to usage by end users. Meaning that we have implemented a new field on every service request named source. That source represents the way the service request has been submitted. If, for example, an administrator entered the service request manually, you would see administrator. If an end user submitted the service request using the end user portal, you would see an end user. So first run this report, see where you stand in regards to your organization and where exactly your end user are standing. How many end users are actually using the end user portal for submitting the service request. So after you have found out where you stand and you need one of our tips or to boost the usage of the end user portal. So again, the next line on my slide I think is a given. Management boosts the process. I mean, if you've got the backup of your management, I think this is the first thing you need in order to get your end user to use the Sysaid, to use the end user portal and submit service request via the end user portal. The second stage is not written here. There is baby steps you can make on the way. For example, if the percentage of service requests submitted is lower within your organization, I would recommend as a first step not to cut up the phone lines, but to ask your end user whenever they communicate to you about a service request to have the number of the service request. You will get them first to submit the end user portal, get used to it, web form, hotkey, whatever you have implemented, and then after they have got this stage, all communication is done by a service request. Then my third recommendation to you will be cut up the phone. So you will not be able to communicate to you in any other way other than using Sysaid itself regarding to chat or end user portal. Internal awareness, we have discussed this through the years in a lot of newsletter in Vegas, and we are talking about it in the certification. This is where the part you need to be creative, and you need to make some kind of awareness within your organization. To have a campaign. This is the fun part when I get to talk to you all and get your inputs. A lot of our customers are very creative when you got to internal awareness. We heard about contests, cakes, tags on the actual keyboard, replacing the hotkey F11 with a tag named Sysaid, so they wouldn't even have to remember what the hotkey is. Shirts of Sysaid. The technician will going with T-shirt of Sysaid, and you can see that, as we stated in our movie, this actually helps. You just need to get your end users to use Sysaid. When I started, Facebook was not as popular as today. With Facebook and Twitter and so on, people know how to use the internet. People know how to chat, so there is no reason why they cannot do it for themselves. So just get them aware for the hotkey, for the ways and so on. Made a competition. Write down the end user of the month using the news and other features, broadcast and so on that Sysaid has. Use your creative user community. Go in, get ideas from other Sysaid in the world that I'm telling you are struggling with the same challenge. The last thing on my slide is keep end user constantly updated regarding the status of their service request. This is something that we recommend, is to provide a lot of information to your end user. We're doing it ourselves. For those of you who don't know, we use Sysaid to support you all. And we implemented that in our customer relation. Our customer relation team is providing you transparency of information in order to provide you information without you having to look for it. So my recommendation is provide transparency as possible. I cannot tell you what you can and what you cannot write, because you are the expert for your organization. What I can tell you is my recommendation is to provide information. Provide them whatever you think that they can see, whatever, and I think they can see everything, but this is up to you. When I'm asked this question regarding to you all, I'm telling them there is nothing my customers, my end user cannot see. And I recommend the same to you. If they would have transparency of information, if that information will be updated, they would use Sysaid. They would see Sysaid as a powerful tool that they can use. If you would put it as an obsolete information, they will not use it. They will keep calling you, and they will keep nagging you at lunch or when you go down to hall. So this is my last best practices for today. To summarize the session today, I would like to give you our special offer for the day. Our special offer for this webinar is 50% on professional services. Our professional services team will be happy to talk to you in getting your end user usage boosted up within your organization. If you need a consultant, if you need our assistance in doing HTML customization, web form implementation, deployment and so on, this is a limited offer. Contact our professional services through our customer relation team. Contact our customer relation team using email, phone calls, chat. Find your account manager within the customer relation team. They will be happy to forward you to our professional services team and offer you our special offer for today. In the few minutes I have, I would like to thank you all for joining us today. I would like to thank Ronen. You cannot see him, but he's sitting right here next to me. This is his first webinar. He was very excited, but I think he did a good job, and you would all agree. So thank you, Ronen. We would see you in our upcoming webinar.
Thank you.
To Joseph, of course, that has been with us, I think, from the beginning, and with his technical tips and aspects. To the people that made the videos for you, to Gal Shemesh and all the actors, Michael. Some of you are lucky to have him as an account manager. All the other participants that you may not know, they're all working in Sysaid. So I hope we would see you here next month. You're happy to communicate to us on the webinar, on every topic. Our customer relation will be happy to assist you in anything you need. So until next month, have a happy month, and we would see you here next